All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's hour number 2 of the Steve Malzberg Show, and joining us now is Pamela Geller, creator of AtlasShrugs.com. You read her at PamelaGeller.com. It's all there. Author of the Post-American Presidency, Obama's War on America, and Stop the Islamization of America. Pamela, welcome. I want to ask you first and foremost about what we're seeing here now. I believe that as a direct result of Obama's attitude, open and blatant disdain, as Mike Huckabee told me yesterday, for Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu, now we're seeing, and you have this as your lead story at PamelaGeller.com, the United Nations is now accusing Israel of being the world's worst treater of women. I think you're going to see more and more anti-Semitism around the world and in the U.S. I think Obama's going down a very calculated and dangerous path.
Absolutely. That's a very good post to point out. I strongly recommend your viewers go over to PamelaGeller.com to see photos of various Muslim countries 20, 30 years ago, before the onslaught of Islamic Jihad and Islamic supremacism, and particularly in Iran, the Sharia revolution of '79, and women in Israel. Again, of course you're going to see that, and you're going to see it coming from the UN. It's a perfect tool, it's a perfect weapon for Obama to use in his jihad against Israel, because the UN is driven by the largest world body, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, a group comprised of 56 Muslim countries and the Palestinian terrorist entity. And everything you see coming out of the UN is always anti-Israel, because it's driven by an Islamic, a Sharia agenda. As far as Obama's now blatant and unabashed anti-Semitism, which frankly I did predict in my 2010 Obama book, The Post-American Presidency. His pro-jihad policies, Steve, are increasingly open and unapologetic. He does everything to appease Iran while strong-arming Israel and attempting to influence, actually interfering in the Israeli elections with American taxpayer money. But honestly, Netanyahu's statesman-like speech to Congress showed how disastrous Obama's Iran deal is, and with the increasing anti-American rhetoric coming out of Iran, and Obama went ballistic after the speech, and he tried to unseat Bibi, and let's be honest, Obama lost and freedom won. The jihad lost and Israel won. The culture of death lost and the culture of life won. It was a great, great moment for freedom lovers. And there's a very good article in the notoriously anti-Zionist, radically leftist Haaretz of first-time voters in Israel, the young voters. And I strongly recommend, you can see it at Atlas because it's paid under Haaretz, and I strongly recommend you do not pay Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper. But they are so articulate and so well-informed. It was a breath of fresh air to read young people in Israel why they voted for Netanyahu. They were the opposite of the Obama zombies here in America, who basically acted like they were voting for their favorite contestant in the American Idol contest. Not once, but twice.
It is very encouraging. Having said that, John Zogby was on this show, and he said that it's now acceptable to the new Democratic Party base to challenge Israel. And that base is made up, he pointed out, a lot of minorities, a lot of very, very left-wing women, et cetera, right on down the line. And, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how, if the UN does start, really threatening Israel, either with a state or with human rights violations or The Hague or whatever, I wonder if the Democrats will band together with Republicans and, as I've heard, cut off funding for the United Nations, for instance, because that's all they could do.
Well, the Zogby is notoriously anti-Israel, so you have to take what he says with a grain of salt.
I'm talking about John Zogby, not his brother.
Aha. Okay. The fact is, it's the uber left driving the party at this point, and we have Obama and his machine to thank for that. I do not believe that Israel is or should be a partisan issue. It's a question of values. It's a question of freedom. It's a shared value system. It's not even a religious issue. It is an issue of liberty. And so what you're seeing is the uber left is driving the bus, and that is why, Obama leaked the Hillary email scandal, because after Obama's gone, he's not going to disappear. He wants very much to control the big Democratic machine. He does not want the Clintonistas to retake the throne, which of course would inevitably happen if she took the throne, or the Oval Office in this case. So I think you're seeing a power struggle. I do not believe that Democrats are inherently anti-Semitic or inherently anti-Israel. I think it is the uber left faction driving that bus. Now, whether they can get back on track, as opposed to, say, the GOP, where the mush is driving the bus, the establishment is driving the bus, and we need more individual rights and property rights and capitalists. I mean, people that understand our core values of individualism driving our bus. We have a different kind of problem.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just think that's what Zogby was describing. I don't think it speaks to the whole of the party.
Let me ask you about James Baker, who is famously or infamously quoted back when George H.W. Bush was president as saying at a meeting, F the Jews. He's now a foreign policy advisor to Jeb Bush. Why would he do that?
Well, don't get me started on Jeb Bush, because I got to tell you something. I can tell you that a lot of Republicans, myself included, are not going to get out and even vote. What's the difference?
Wait a minute, Obama's might make you do that, you know.
Again, well, that's, again, this is the essential battle, Steve. The essential battle is not Democrat versus Republican. The essential battle is individualism versus statism, individual rights versus collectivism. So, of course, mandatory voting. How absolutely typical. This is the road we're going on. It's a very slippery slope, and I'm not surprised. As for Jeb Bush, look, this is America. Enough with the dynasties. Enough with the Bush dynasty. Enough with the Clinton dynasty. This is America, and we don't want another mushy GOP candidate. We did it. We did it with McCain, and it was an epic fail. We did it with Romney, and that was an epic fail at a time when, frankly, we should have won that election. We should have had a real fighter. We should have had somebody who would be unafraid to say the truth. This is not the 20th century. This is the 21st century, and you got to fight.
Gotcha.
Fire with fire.
Pam,
not evil for evil. Have
a great weekend, Pam. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much. When we come back, folks, Shannon Coffin will be here, and we'll go over the legalities involved with this whole email affair of Hillary, including the subpoena, with the demand from the committee today to Hillary.